and Algeria have had a very strong political relationship for a very long time. Do you know that even before Algerian independence in 1962, the National Liberation Front, the FLN, had its offices in India in the 1950s and the 60s, and both countries established relations in July 1962. Since then, our relationship has been strong, and as an embassy, it is our endeavor, it is our goal to highlight the strengths of our relationship at every possible juncture. But I also want to tell you that both countries share a very multifaceted relationship which impacts on the lives of people in both countries, and that itself is something which will become apparent to the people in both countries as we get closer and closer. I just want to share one thing with you, that whenever I go out in my car and there's an Indian flag on that, and every time there's a Algerian child or a school kid who's passing by, and they always look at the flag and then they say Al-Hind, and that always surprises me. But it also is a testimony to the fact that the relationship transcends the official channels and is something which is in the hearts of the people in both sides. But as you said, we look forward to always look at every opportunity to highlight this friendship between the people of our two countries. Many Indian and foreign manufacturers have made India as a base. They have been investing billions of dollars in putting in automotive infrastructure. So companies like Hyundai, Kia, Toyota, Mercedes, Volkswagen, and even Indian companies like Tata's, Suzuki, Maruti, and Mahindra and Mahindra. They have invested billions of dollars to build car infrastructure in India, which is now the third largest automotive market in the world. So yes, we would be very interested in exporting cars to Algeria, because I believe that Indian cars are something which would be very much appreciated in Algeria. They are robust, they are built for a very price sensitive market, which is India. And they are of a very high quality because they have international collaboration behind them. I know that Indian cars were very popular in Algeria. We had vehicles from Maruti Suzuki being sold here, Mahindra and Mahindra, and Tata's. And we look forward to whatever changes which will be happening in the coming months in the automotive sector in Algeria, which will allow imports of cars, and I'm sure that the Algerian people will find Indian cars to be of great use. At this point, I just want to also add one more thing, which is that an Indian company has already invested in Algeria in building tractors. It's called SPA Sonalika FAMAG. So Sonalika is one of the largest tractor manufacturers in India, and it has set up a facility in Algeria to manufacture almost 5,000 tractors. So I feel that as soon as the government regulations allow, Indian manufacturers will be happy to provide their vehicles in Algeria, and the Algerian people will find them to be of great use. You're right. After COVID, our trade was impacted. It had reached almost $3 billion in 2018, and then it declined. Now it's recovering. But we are now going beyond the traditional areas of trade. I can see that happening. Algeria is, under President Tebboune, it is already looking at non-oil exports from Algeria. And these have crossed more than $7 billion already, which is one of the largest in the last few years. And there are new fields and new opportunities in which the two countries are going to be collaborating. Those fields would be pharmaceuticals, there would be information technology, there would be automobile parts and machineries. We already have an Indian company, the Infosys, which is one of the largest companies in the world, entering into a tie-up with an Algerian company called Interval last year. President Tebboune has repeatedly focused on Algeria being an entrepreneurial country, or on having multiple startups. In fact, an Algerian startup called Farm AI won from amongst more than 12,000 entries at a recent competition, and President Tebboune congratulated it. In this context, India is the third largest startups market and ecosystem in the world. India has a very, very strong IT sector. And I feel that these are the new avenues in which India and Algeria will be collaborating to take forward their trade and economic relationship. And that's how we will reach new levels. You are right, Algeria has indeed applied for membership of BRICS, and the enhanced membership of BRICS is under consideration in within the BRICS forum. The countries which comprise BRICS right now, they are discussing the modalities, the procedures, the criteria on the basis of which membership will be opened to the multiple countries who have applied for BRICS membership. And as soon as there is a consensus, an agreement on these modalities and criteria, then the requests for new memberships will be taken up. India and Algeria have collaborated extensively over the years in international organizations and at different fora. And I can tell you that Algeria strongly supported India's seat for the non-permanent UNSC Council membership for the year 2021-22. And I can confirm to you that India has strongly supported Algeria's candidature for the same non-permanent UNSC membership for the year 2024-25. Algeria is the largest country in Africa. It's one of the most prosperous countries in Africa. Its people are hardworking, intelligent, and they have amongst the highest social and economic developments in the world. And Algeria is a voice for peace and stability, not only in Africa, but for all over the world. So I am sure that its candidature would be looked at in a very positive light whenever it is put up. India and Algeria have been collaborating in the space field, and as you said, in 2010, India and Algeria collaborated to launch an Algerian satellite called ALSAT-2A in 2010. Subsequently, both countries launched another 4 satellites on an Indian carrier in 2016. Our space cooperation has been continuing over the last few years, and you'll be glad to know that in 2022, after COVID, both countries have activated something called the Programming Committee, which is an important instrument which was set up in 2018 after India and Algeria signed an agreement on space cooperation during the visit of the Director General of ASAL, the Algerian Space Agency, to ISRO, the Indian Space Research Organization in Bengaluru. And now both countries are collaborating on using satellite data for things like crop forecasting, climate change, desertification, water management, disaster management, and mapping out urban areas. over the next few years and in the next few months, both countries are looking at taking forward cooperation in these areas. And it's a very interesting area for both countries to work on together. There is no direct connection between India and Algeria, though both countries are connected very well through third country destinations. I know that the travel between both countries is increasing by the day. The number of visas that we issue every month is increasing, and increasingly Algerians are traveling to India for business purposes and for tourism, and they go to places like Gujarat for sourcing textiles, and they go to Delhi and Gurgaon for sourcing automobile parts, and they're traveling to cities like Hyderabad for pharmaceutical industries and for machinery for iron and steel. So this travel is expected to continue and grow more and more, and at some point of time I'm sure that we will be opening discussions on starting a direct air service between India and Algeria. Indian movies are very popular in Algeria, and maybe you also know of the song called Jaane Tu, because wherever Indians go, they are greeted by this song in Algeria. It's a very popular song. But do you also know that many Indian companies, many Indian film companies, they come and they shoot their movies in Algeria? And in India, the film industry is huge. Most people are aware of what they call as Bollywood, which is based in Mumbai. But the Indian film industry is beyond Bollywood. And in fact, only today, earlier in the day, a movie from the south of India called KKK has won a very prestigious award at the Golden Globes. So many of these movies and their producers and their directors and their actors, they travel to Algeria and they shoot in the beautiful locations that are available in Algeria.